let's start with something funny. A man died and his last wish was that his wife would bury with him the $50,000 he had saved up over his lifetime. He wanted to take it with him. At the funeral, his wife approached the coffin, placed an envelope inside, and sat down by a family friend. The friend asked, "You didn't put that $50,000 in there with him, did you?" The wife said, "I did, but I wrote him a check." Listen, you've spent a lifetime building something for your family. You worked hard, you saved, and you've planned for your future. But what if the very document you create to protect them actually becomes the spark that ignites a family war? It happens way more often than you think. In fact, studies show that a huge number of families experience conflict after a loved one passes, usually because of surprises or confusion in an estate plan. I once had a client whose family was absolutely torn apart over a single, vaguely worded sentence in a will. I'm talking about lifelong bonds shattered and a huge chunk of the inheritance just eaten up by legal fees. It was a total nightmare, born from the best intentions, but unfortunately poor execution. As an estate planning attorney, I have seen it all. The good, the bad, and the truly heartbreaking. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way for you. In this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on the secrets to making sure your estate plan brings your family together instead of driving them apart. We're going to cover the communication tips and legal strategies you need to ensure your legacy creates harmony, not heartache. Alright, before we get to the solutions, we have to understand the common landmines. Most inheritance fights don't happen because people are greedy. They happen because of hurt feelings, confusion, and a lack of clarity. The real problems almost always fall into a few key categories. First up, the surprise will reading. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But it happens. When your loved ones find out your decisions for the first time after you're gone, that shock can curdle into suspicion and resentment. They're left wondering why, and without you there to explain, they start filling in the blanks with the worst possible stories. Second, there's a huge misunderstanding between what's fair and what's equal. A lot of people think leaving everything to their kids in equal shares is the fairest move. But what if you gave one child a big chunk of cash for a down payment, while another child put their career on hold to be your primary caregiver for years? In that situation, an equal split can feel deeply unfair to the people involved, sparking resentment that can last a lifetime. Third, and this is a big one, the battle over sentimental stuff. You might be shocked to learn that the most vicious fights are rarely over the biggest assets. They're over mom's jewelry, dad's old watch, or a box of holiday ornaments. These things have immense emotional weight, and without a clear plan, they become symbols of what was loved more, turning siblings against each other. And finally, the fuel that makes this whole fire burn hotter: silence. Avoiding the tough conversations about your estate plan doesn't keep the peace. It just kicks the can down the road. That lack of communication creates a vacuum where misunderstandings grow until they finally explode when emotions are already at an all-time high. So what's the most powerful weapon you have to stop this from happening? It's not complicated legal clause, it's communication. Open, honest, and early communication is the single best way to head off family conflict. I know that might sound terrifying. These conversations feel awkward and morbid, but it's all about how you frame it. This isn't just a talk about death. It's a conversation about your values, your love for your family, and your hopes for their future. So how do you actually do it? First, schedule a family meeting, and please don't spring this on everyone during the Thanksgiving dinner. Set a specific time, let them know the topic beforehand, and create a calm space. You could say something like, "I've been working on my estate plan, and it's really important to me that I share my thoughts with all of you. I want to make sure we're all on the same page to prevent any confusion later on." Now, during the meeting, your goal is not to get everyone to agree with you. The goal is to make sure they understand you. Explain the why behind your choices. If you aren't dividing things equally, tell them your reasoning. Maybe one child has greater financial needs, or you've already given a significant gift to another. When people understand the thought and love behind your decisions, it's a lot harder for them to feel hurt. If a big meeting feels like too much, there's another amazing tool, a letter of intent, sometimes called an ethical will. This isn't a legally binding document, but a personal letter to your loved ones. In your own voice, you can explain your decisions, share stories, and pass on your values. This letter can be the bridge between the cold legal language of a will and the warm heart of your family. It gives you the final word, a chance to leave a legacy of love, not just assets. Communication is the foundation, but you need to back it up with a solid legal structure. Vague or outdated documents are a primary cause of family fights. Just look at the case of Aretha Franklin, who had multiple conflicting handwritten wills found in her home, leading to years of legal battles for her family. Your plan needs to be clear, comprehensive, and built to last. This starts with having more than just a will. A will is a good start, but it has big limitations. For many families, a revocable living trust is a much better tool. Assets in a trust avoid probate, the public, lengthy, and often expensive court process. Direct privacy alone can dial down the tension. A trust also gives you incredible control. If you're worried about a beneficiary who is young and not great with money, a trust lets you spell out that funds should be used for things like education or be distributed in stages over time. Next, you have to carefully choose your captain, the person in charge of settling your estate. This person is called an executor for a will or a trustee for a trust, so many people just default to their oldest child, but that can be a huge mistake. This job requires someone organized, responsible, and, most importantly, neutral. Putting one sibling in charge of another's inheritance can be a recipe for disaster. If there's any history of rivalry, think about naming a neutral third party like a trusted friend or professional fiduciary. It might be the best money your estate ever spends to keep the peace. Finally, get specific, especially with personal items. Don't just say, my personal property should be divided among my children. That's an invitation to a brawl. Create a personal property memorandum. This is a separate legally recognized document in many states where you can list specific items and who gets them. Go room by room and decide who gets the grandfather clock, the photo albums, the silverware. This one simple act can diffuse dozens of fights before they ever start. Now, let's circle back to that fair versus equal problem. True fairness isn't about treating everyone the same. It's about treating everyone equitably, based on their lives and your relationship with them. Your estate plan is your final chance to balance the scales. If you helped one child with a down payment for a house, you might want to give another child a larger share of the inheritance to even things out. If one child sacrificed their own career to care for you, recognizing that in your plan isn't favoritism, it's fairness. The key, as we discussed, is to communicate why you're doing it. Another great strategy is to consider gifting during your lifetime. If you want to help your kids financially, doing it while you're alive lets you see them enjoy the gift. It can also shrink your taxable estate and takes those assets out of the final inheritance pot, which can sometimes lower the temperature on future conflicts. Most importantly, please remember that your estate plan is not a set it and forget it document. Life changes. You'll have new grandchildren, kids get married or divorced, your finances change. Celebrity stories are full of outdated plans, like Whitney Houston's, which wasn't updated for nearly 2 decades and created major complications. You should review your plan every 3 to 5 years, or after any major life event. An outdated plan can be just as dangerous as no plan at all because it might not reflect your wishes or your family's reality. I get it. Navigating all of this feels overwhelming, and just starting that first conversation is often the hardest part. My challenge to you is this. Take one small step this week. Maybe it's just writing down your thoughts or scheduling time to talk with a key family member. The most important thing is to start. If you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it with someone who could also benefit from this information. You've worked hard your entire life to provide for your family and leave behind a positive legacy. The absolute last thing you want is for that legacy to be a bitter family feud. The secrets aren't that complicated. They are communicating with radical transparency, building bulletproof legal documents, and aiming for true fairness. By having these tough conversations now, putting your wishes into clear legal documents, and keeping your plan updated, you are giving your family one of the greatest gifts imaginable, peace of mind. You're ensuring your legacy is one of harmony and love, not conflict. You are protecting your family's most valuable asset, their relationship with each other. Take control of your legacy today. Your family will thank you for it.